They went on a long surfing trip in Mexico expecting to have the time of their lives, but instead they were all ambushed in the middle of the night and shot execution style in the head. Their bodies would later be found in a remote 50-foot deep well, with a fourth body that had been down there for much longer. So how did this all happen and why? This is the disturbing murders of Jake and Callum Robinson and their friend, Jack Carter Rode. And if there's ever a story that you need to hear in regards to traveling and staying safe, it's theirs. So let's talk about it. This is Jake and Callum Robinson. They were 30 and 33-year-old brothers from Australia who loved to surf. This was their friend, 30-year-old Jack Carter Rode. Jack lived in the US, as did Callum, who moved to Ocean Beach, California to play professional lacrosse. Jake still lived in Australia, but in April of 2024, he flew to California to meet up with his brother and friend Jack. Together, they all planned to go on this exciting surfing and camping trip in Mexico, and they were especially excited to go to Punta San Jose, which is about 20 miles south of Ensenada. So they packed up their white Chevy Colorado with all of their boards and personal belongings and set out for the trip. Punta San Jose is an extremely remote area, but the campsite the men chose was a beautiful surfing hotspot. Like, it really couldn't get any better than this, and they were all looking forward to having the time of their lives. But on April 27th, 2024, this would all be cut short. That night, as the surfers settled in for the night, they met this woman. Her name is Ari Giselle Silva, and she is 23 years old. Ari befriended the group and really made them trust her. At first glance, the men really didn't have anything to worry about. They had safety measures set in place and they weren't new to traveling. They were also all sleeping at the same campsite, so surely nothing could go wrong, right? Well, unbeknownst to the men, Ari was setting them up. After talking with the tourists, she noticed all of their nice belongings like their phones and surfboards, and of course, their truck. The truck itself was really nice, but Ari was really focused on their tires. So after she said her goodbyes and parted ways, Ari left, and this would be the last time the three men were ever seen alive again. The next morning came and went, and when the men didn't check into their Airbnb in Rosarita Beach, the brothers' family started to worry. It wasn't like them to just ghost a reservation like that, but they tried not to worry too much because this was a really remote area. So they initially thought that they just got caught up somewhere with no cell phone service. But hours would go by, and it was radio silence from all three of them. Unable to ignore their concerns any longer, the brothers' family took to social media to see if anyone locally had seen the trio, and when no one had, they were reported missing to the police. This sparked a massive search, which included several different agencies, including local police, the Mexican Marines, and even the FBI. It didn't take long, though, for the men's campsite to be found, but this discovery really only caused more panic and worry. Their campsite was literally burned to a crisp, so it was clear right away that something horrible happened to these men. But nothing could have prepared anyone for what the police found next, because about 4 miles away, sitting on a desolate ranch, was the men's white pickup truck. This was found on May 3rd, so 5 days after they were reported missing. It was completely abandoned on this ranch in the Santo Tomas area. It was completely gutted and all of the wheels were missing, and this site was about an hour inland from their campsite. After searching near where the truck was found, authorities stumbled across a remote well about 4 miles away. This well was covered up and was about 50 feet deep, and when they looked inside, they found all three of the men's decomposing bodies at the bottom. But what's super crazy is that there was also a fourth body in the well too, and authorities later found that this was the owner of the ranch where all of this was discovered. I guess the body was of a local farmer who had recently lost his ranch, aka the crime scene, to a cartel, which is so sad because it was obvious that he had been down there for quite some time. An autopsy concluded that the Robinson brothers and their friend Jack had all been shot execution style in the head, and then their bodies were dumped down the well that was hidden in a cliff. So now that they found the men's bodies, the biggest question was who would do this to these random tourists and why? And it didn't take long for investigators to track down Ari, the woman who befriended the men, and then came her confession. Ari admitted to scouting out the guys, and when she saw that they all had really nice things and a really nice truck with nice tires, she went and told her boyfriend and his two friends. She urged them to go and rob the men, so they did. Sometime between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. on April 28, 2024, these three men ambushed Jake, Callum, and Jack as they slept and attempted to rob them. It's suspected that the men tried to fight back, which resulted in them all being shot execution style in the head. These men then stole all of their personal belongings and truck before dumping their bodies and burning the campsite. Ari confessed that her boyfriend came back to her house that night and said that he did something to those three white guys. And when she asked what he meant, he said, quote, "I killed them." End quote. So with all of this information, the 3 other men, as well as Ari, were all arrested. The other men are Jesus Garcia Cota, his brother Ireneo Garcia Montano, and Angel Leon Aguilera. Ari was found to be the ringleader and instigator, so to speak, and she was found guilty of violent robbery. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison and ordered to pay the victims' families $3,000. The other 3 men rejected a plea deal that would have given each of them about 52 years in prison, but they chose to not take any accountability for the murders. Now they're all going to separate trials for aggravated homicide, and they're looking at over 200 years in prison if found guilty. This is such a devastating story to me because in one instant, 3 really good men were all taken from this world far too early, and all over some tires. Callum was described as super lovable with a larger-than-life personality. He was an extremely talented athlete, and he had played for Australia in the World Lacrosse Championship. He loved to teach young players and was overall just a really good human being. Jake was pursuing a career in medicine and loved running, surfing, and going to live music festivals. He was described as happy, gentle, and just a really compassionate soul, as was their friend Jack. None of them deserved what happened to them. Their family set up a foundation in their honor called the Callum and Jake Robinson Foundation. It's to celebrate all 3 men and to keep their memories alive through doing good deeds. It's definitely super impactful, so go and check it out if you can and show your support. It's really scary to think that they were here one moment just living their lives to the fullest, and in the blink of an eye, it was all over for them. It's stories like this that really shed light into how important it is to be safe and aware of your surroundings when traveling. You never know who is out there waiting to strike, so just be careful.